Welcome back to the channel. We're going to keep working on our 2006 GMC Sierra. We're going to get it all apart so the painting gnomes can edge out our doors. We'll get those back on, and then we're going to get it all apart so they can paint everything else. Then we can put it all back together. Let's get started. So first, our front floated door has to come apart. I'm going to take it apart while it's still on the truck because it's easier than chasing around the stand when it's a little more stable. So we'll just unbolt the regulator, unplug it, slide it out of there. Luckily they left the window cracked a little bit so there's enough room to move it around and get it out of the door. If it's all the way up, it kind of binds up in there. So that was nice of them. I didn't have to jump it. We'll pull that regulator out. Then we can drop the glass down, tip it to the front, and slide it out. The bottom part of that window that no one sees is pretty dirty. I hope I'm going to clean that before I put it back in. Pull the window channel down. Pull the wiring harness off. Unbolt the window channel. Pull the window sweep out. On these older style doors, that's all one piece. On the new one, it's two pieces. So that's going in the pile. Pull the belt molding off. Try not to break the tab at the end. Done that a few times. Pop the rods off of there. And take the door latch off. One last plug for the wiring harness. It was hard to get to, so I'll do it now. I'll fish the wiring harness out of the door. And we'll pull out our aftermarket speaker. Bonus. Wonder if it works. Stick all the screws to the magnet in the back. We can unbolt our door check and our hinges. Doors off and ready for the painting gnome. Now we can strip our rear door down. The painting gnome started scuffing it already, so he got as much done as he could. Now we gotta pull the rest of it apart so we can finish. My favorite lift-off door panels. Unbolt the speaker that wasn't plugged in. That must be one of those new Bluetooth speakers all the youngsters are talking about. Pull the water barrier off. Have to disconnect the handle because the rod goes through the water barrier. You can unbolt the bracket for the speaker, unbolt our regulator, plug in a jumper to our regulator. Because Scott's GM Truck Emporium left the window up and now I can't get it out of there. So we hook the wires up and you can be sure 100% of the time you're going to get them wrong. So we're going to switch them around. Make it go down. I don't even try to guess, I just know it's going to be wrong. So the stand was sitting on the glass, we'll move the door a little bit and lower our window. Now we can get to the bolts on the bottom of the regulator. Put our jumper pack away, finish unbolting our regulator. Pull the rods out for the door latch, and we'll ease the regulator out of there. Probably should have just taken the whole door latch out. I don't always do things the right way. Well, we'll fight with this regulator, and it's out. Unbolt the door latch we should have taken out earlier. Oh, look, a door check and some little rubber piece. I don't know what that's for. Maybe the cover for an aftermarket speaker it had at one time. Who knows? Pull our window sweep out. Pop our wiring harness off. And pull the wiring harness out of the door. Twist all the little plastic clips out of there. Lower our glass. Make sure we don't break it. We want it in one piece when we throw it in the dumpster. We can break it then. Slide the glass out of there. Pop the belt molding off. And start pulling the rest of the J-nuts off. If you're wondering why I don't save the glass, I have a bunch of them. And it usually gets broken anyway.
Crikey! It's one of those elusive painting gnomes. Be very quiet, for if we startle it, it shall spray us with its paint as a defense mechanism, and then retreat to wherever gnomes live.
This particular gnome only gets to paint the inside parts because he has a little problem with his metallics, and they come out blotchy. So, until he gets that straightened out, we leave him on the inside. He is practicing, we're working on it, he's getting better. Maybe he'll be painting the outside soon. So our doors are all dry through the magic of video editing. We'll put our latches in it just so that the doors stay closed. We're not going to put the doors together. We just want them on the car and latched so they can paint the outside. So we'll snap our rods back in there. Pop all the little rubber baby buggy bumpers in. They just push in. If you kind of twist them as you push them in, there's no threads on there, but they will pop in a little easier. Put the latch on the front door. This latch will be coming back out. This is the one that came with the used door. There's nothing wrong with our original, so I'm going to use that one. I know it works. I have no idea if this one works. And it's only 3 screws. Install our rubber baby buggy bumpers. And we'll put our door check in, the rear door, since hopefully this is the last time we're putting it on. The front door check we're going to leave off for now because I have to take the used door apart in order to get it out of there. The one I got from Florida, the door check was a little worn out, so we're just going to toss it in a pile. So now we're going to put our doors on. Bet you guys have never seen this before. I would tell you how to do it, but I'm sure by now you can tell me. Although, it's a little bit more of a challenge now because there is some paint on the pins, so we got to kind of work the paint off of there. Set it down there and kind of wiggle it back and forth. It'll rip all that paint off. Upset the painting gnome. We'll pull the paper off. It's like Christmas, or so I'm told. I never get any presents because I can't manage to be good all year. One door's on. And we'll put our front door on. As a model of efficiency, always remember to place your doors as far away from the vehicle as possible, so you have to carry them across the shop to put them back on. At one point, they were all in the same room together. Not sure why I moved them further away. Guess I needed to get my cardio in. Close it up. And we'll pull our molding off of our rear door. We'd pulled the one off the front. We ended up sanding and priming the whole outside of the door because, well, you get rust-free doors, you get horrible paint. So a lot of the clear coat was peeling. We didn't want problems. We just sanded the whole door down, primed the whole door. We got a good base to start with. The rear door was actually in pretty good shape, so we didn't have to sand it all down. A couple little dents to fix that we'll take care of. I'll use our magic eraser. Take off this molding. Those are available on my Amazon store if you're looking for them. When I did pick up the front door, I had my choice of about 10 rust-free doors. I chose the one I did, even though it was the wrong year, because it had the molding that I needed for the front. That was the only one. They all fit the bill. They were rust-free and didn't have any dents. That's all I was looking for. So I've showed you guys enough times how to take these doors apart the slow way, but there's a much faster way. We're gonna do that now. Now let's do the back door. Now these can be a little bit trickier. Alright, let's move on to the front end.
So we'll pull the closeout panel above the grill off first. We need to get the bumper off because we have to repair the bottom valance. And we want it out of the way so they can mask off the fenders. In order to get the bumper off, we have to pull the grill off. In order to get the grill off, we got to take the closeout panel off. So now that we got the closeout panel off, there's one bolt in the center of the grill. 2 pins in the headlight, you just twist them and pull them out. And just unplug the headlights. These trucks are really easy to work on. That's why everyone likes them. Pull the pins out of the driver's side. Not like the new cars where you gotta pull the entire bumper off just to get the headlights out. Of course, GM learned their lesson. The new trucks, you have to pull the bumpers off to get the headlights out. We'll pop our parking lights out. There's one tab on the outer end. You just squeeze it and it'll release the parking light. And a little wiggle and pull on the grill and it comes out. Take the parking light out of the other side. And we'll just yank the grill off this side. Couple bolts in the rear brackets and unplug the fog lights. And 4 bolts in the center. Our bumper should be ready to come on. Yep. We'll strip it all down and hand it to our painting gnomes.
Our truck's all painted. Let's start putting it back together.
So we'll set the bed back down so the truck is only taking up 1 parking space instead of 1.5. We'll use our mobile frame rack. Set it down there. There's no pins on these, so you do have to move them around quite a bit to get them to line up. We'll do that later. Right now, I'm going to cavity wax the doors. Because if I wait any longer, the doors will be rotted off before I can put them back together. I've gotten lazy. I didn't even tape off the holes in the bottom. Give the detailer something to do. Put our door handle on the outside, bolt it in, put our little cap in there. We'll reconnect the rod for the door handle. Drop our window channel in. Drop our glass in. He didn't clean it. Honestly, didn't think I was going to. That's it. I'm unsubscribing. I can't believe he doesn't waste his time cleaning parts no one will see, that have no adverse effects on the build whatsoever. Bye. Yes, I really have gotten those comments before. And let me tell you, I'm heartbroken. Bolt our glass to our regulator, and bolt in our window channel. Drop our window sweep in there. And check and make sure our window works. How about that? It works, even though it's dirty. Never would have guessed. Slide the belt molding on. We'll use the bumper installation tool.
Our old mirror is cracked. Probably got hit by a smart car. In the pile.
Scott's GM Truck Emporium had another one of these mirrors in stock. So we'll run the wiring harness through. There's actually a ton of different mirrors for these trucks. With signal, without signal, power folding, non-power folding, chrome cover, non-chrome cover, and multiple variations of each. So we'll slide our switches up into the bezel, If you take the whole switch assembly out, which is also the passenger door module, plug it all in. It's much easier than trying to plug each plug in when it's in the door. So you just pop that out of there, plug everything in, and then snap it up in the door. You're done. Line up our door panel and push it down. Put our little foam in here. Put all our screws in the door. Click. Put a little triangle in there. And the bezel around the door handle. Put our little door lock cover in there. Make sure it works. Plug in our light, snap it in. One door down. I'll move on to the right rear. Put our window channel in there. Want to get the corners into place, and do the sides. Put our belt molding in. It's supposed to have a tab in the back, but somebody broke it. It wasn't me. Somebody's been here before. I promise you. That wasn't all they did wrong. We'll put our window up. We never took the glass out. You don't have to. Slide our door handle in there. Bolt it in. And connect the rod. Now we'll throw our cavity wax in the bottom. By not taking the glass out, about the only thing that's a little bit harder is one door handle bolt. But you can get it with a swivel socket. Stick our water barrier back up there. Install the window sweep. And we'll throw our dirty door panel up there. Man, the clean freaks are having a rough day today. Slide it down into the door. And we'll put our screws in it. Plug in our window switch and snap it in. Put our bezel around our handle. Little lock in there. Make sure everything works. Now we'll bolt the bed on. Start the filler neck bolts. Tighten them all up. Didn't lose any down the filler neck. Hooray! Now we can tighten up all the bed bolts. I just slid the bed around so it was even across the bumper and across the back of the cab. And just tighten it down. Now we'll put the front door together. At least part of it. Put our door handle in the outside. Clip in the rod. And we'll run our wiring harness in the rear door. This is our original wiring harness, since I smashed the one that came with the used door. Maybe next time, it'll stay out of my way. Some cavity wax in that bottom seam. Door's got a nice big opening, it's real easy to see. We already had the water barrier out. And we'll do the front door while we're at it. It'll be dry by the time I go to work on it. So we'll slide our regulator in here. Still haven't learned to leave the lock and actuator out before I put the regulator in, but whatever. A little extra struggle. Makes it exciting. Bolt our speaker and bracket in there. And we'll drop our dirty door glass in. And this guy just does not clean anything, does he? How reckless of him. Put our window channel up there. Slide the window sweep down. And we'll put our sill plate brackets in. We'll run the wiring harness across it. I guess I saw something shiny. Had to stop putting the door together for a second.
No rhyme or reason why. We'll put our window back up. We'll put our window sweep in. Now we can throw our water barrier up there. Sure it's stuck real good. Run the door handle rod through there and connect it to the door handle and clip it in and then bolt it in. Slide our door panel down, bolt that in, plug in our switch, put our bezel around our handle, and we start pulling our front door apart. We need pretty much everything out of this door. We'll pull everything off of it. The armrest is broken, and I usually do fix them, but this one was too broken, so I actually ordered a new one. One of the few parts I actually had to buy. And they're not cheap. Unplug our speaker, unplug our door module, and we'll pop that door module out so it's easier to put in later. Pull our speaker out of the front. Pull off what's left of this water barrier. Somebody's been here before. I guess they figured that you only need the bottom half. So that's all I got. So I did get a new window regulator as a bonus. Unbolt the mirror, pull the wiring harness off. Pull the mirror out of here. Unbolt our window channel and pull off the window sweep. Then we'll jump our window and raise it up. And in case you were wondering, yes, I did get it wrong again. Always. Pull our glass out of here. Now we can pull the window channel out and our belt molding. The belt molding's starting to separate, so we're going to have to use our other one. And there's a lock laying down on the door. Somebody punched it out. And apparently, somebody's been here before. They changed the keys. This one's for an H2.
Somebody's been here before.
So if I had to guess, somebody probably punched a lock out of it, got in, and peeled the steering column, but they would have had to destroy the lock. Somebody just went and got a used lock, threw it in there, just used the fob to get in the door. Well, I want to give the new owner another option in case the fob goes dead to get into his truck. I had enough with the 2 locks to take out the little wafers and rekey the lock. Actually, I was able to move a few of them around and I only needed to use 2 wafers from the used lock. But now our key works. Now we'll put our latch in from our original door. Connect the rods. Put the handle in. We don't have a water barrier yet. I'm just going to put this all back together for now so we can close it up. Then we'll leak check it. Put our outside handle in. Bolt it in. Connect the rod. And make sure it works. Locks. Unlocks. I think it does everything it's supposed to do. Now we'll pull the wiring harness off. We'll throw it in our other door. Just fish it through. Pretty simple. Not a whole lot of wires in here. Run it back to the door latch. A couple of plugs on there. Snap them in. Unbolt the
little window track that's down below, and then unbolt our regulator. Throw that back in our new door. Bolt it in. Get this little window track in. Just a little C-shaped thing that keeps the bottom of it from rattling around. Now we can pull off our door check. It's just 2 nuts behind that little plastic cover. Take it out of there and put it in our new one. Bolt it in. Put our little plastic cover on that I usually forget and have to take apart again. Now we can bolt it to the car. Camera guy was in the way. By camera guy, I mean tripod. Push the window channel in there. We'll use the belt molding installation tool since we're going to need it. Now we'll use it for the belt molding. We'll route the wires for the mirror. Push the mirror in. Start a couple screws, and we'll drop our dirty door glass in there. Yes, still with the dirty door glasses. But I did use the cleaner of the 2 dirty ones, so I should get some points for that. I'll put our window back up, bolt in our mirror, bolt in our window, and our truck should be officially watertight. Before we leak test it, I want to replace all that foam that holds those little plastic pieces in that are down below. So this one's kind of low down there. We'll just put a hose on the end of the nozzle for the foam, and that'll get us down there. You end up throwing the hose away, but not a big deal. The B-pillar, we can get right to the bottom. So we'll just go around the outside, stick all that foam in there. It's just a small bead, and then it kind of expands. It'll hold that plastic piece in. Now when that's dry, we're going to come over with the cavity wax, get to anything that we couldn't paint or prime. So all the back sides of all the welds in there, our seams. We don't want it to start rusting in there from the inside. Even if no water ever gets in there, just the humidity from the air will cause it to start rusting. So we'll get a good coating. Then we'll put our seatbelt back on. We didn't need to do the B-pillar because we were actually able to get into it from the big hole that's in there and prime the inside and paint it. So we did that before, then we put the foam on it. It's actually better than the factory. Factory puts that foam on it, and sometimes it's not primed underneath. And that foam starts to absorb water and starts to rust. And now we need to cavity wax the bottom of our rockers for 2 reasons. One, because we did the repair on it. We got to replace any paint that was disturbed. And 2, because, well, it's a GM, and I want the rockers to last longer than about 30 seconds after I drive it out of the shop. So we're even going to do the passenger side. And while we're here and saving metal on this GM truck, we'll do over the rear wheel wells, which is another place that they are prone to rot away. Throw our taillight back in there, drop the wiring harness down there, bolt it in. No side airbags in this one, but I am yet again pulling the headliner down. It's starting to peel away from the edges, so we're going to have to redo it. We'll pull the sun visors out, pull the overhead console out, drop it on the floor, unplug the rear view mirror. That whole harness will end up going with the headliner. Most headliners, the fabric wraps around the cardboard that's underneath it, these, it goes right to the edge. When you're driving around with the windows open, the air actually starts to get in there and peel it down. So it kind of causes its own problem. There's nothing over the edges to keep the air from getting in there. It's just a really bad design. We'll pull our grab handles down. It's just 3 bolts and then a little wiggle and pull. The front grab handle, just pop the centers out. They don't come all the way out, and yank them off of there. It stays in the headliner. Now we'll unplug the wiring harness. It doesn't suck quite as bad as the new ones. It's still not fun. We'll unbolt the top of the dash. Just kind of pull it out of the way a little bit, give us some room to get that wire out of there. I do a lot less complaining about this one than the 15s and up. Pop our little Christmas trees out of the back. Pull our grab handle out of the left rear. And our headliner drops down. Now we have to try and get it out of here. It's actually supposed to come out either the windshield or the back glass. So it's kind of a tight fit. You got to kind of fold it in half a little bit to get it through the door opening. Probably should have taken the door off again. Not like I haven't done it 100 times already. So we just peel the fabric off. Once you get it started, it comes off pretty easy. We don't have to be nice, we're throwing it away. It's faded, it's stained, time for it to go. So now we got to get rid of the foam. There's 2 methods. We can use the wire brush, or we can use the pneumatic assault brush. But you can't do both at the same time. I'm kind of messing the gnome up, and he's also a little apprehensive about using the assault brush. So I'll use it. Makes the job a lot quicker. Just kind of glide it over the top. You don't want to use too much pressure or it will chew right into that fabric. Cardboard. Fiber reinforced cardboard, I guess is what it really is. And just kind of gently glide it across and it'll take all that stuff off. Really a messy job. Not a fan. The flat spots are pretty easy. Corners get a little tricky. It's much better than the wire brush though. So once we got everything cleaned off, we're going to put our glue on there. Couple coats. You let it tack up. Put another coat on. Do both sides, the fabric and the headliner base. And set it down. We did it half and half. We didn't want to do the whole thing at once. So we started from the center and worked forward. So you start in the center and you work your way forward and out at the same time. You start from the outside in, you end up with too much material or too little material and it gets bubbled or won't fit. So we work our way out from the center, push it over the edges, just stick it down on there. And then we're going to do what the factory should have done, and we're going to roll it over the edges. So if the new owner is driving around with the windows open, that air won't be catching it and ripping it down. Takes a little patience, and make sure you got clean hands, otherwise you're going to get grease all over your headliner. You can wear gloves, but, well, I don't wear gloves for anything else. Why would I wear them now? Just going to stick the whole piece of fabric down. We'll cut all of our holes later. Now we'll do the back half. Same way we did the front half. It's just a little easier since I don't do this a lot. I mean, you can do the whole thing in one piece. I don't have enough practice, and I don't want to mess it up. We'll start in the center, work our way out. It does help when you have 2 people to hold the fabric up so it doesn't accidentally stick on there, because it will definitely stick where you don't want it. Guaranteed. So now I, of course, found the dullest razor blade I could, and we'll trim it out to fit a little bit. Cut out for the overhead console. Just a rough cut in the center. Pull these pieces out. We cut a little square in there. Actually, I guess it's a rectangle. Now we'll cut on a diagonal for all the corners of our square and just stick that to the inside. It doesn't really matter if this sticks all that well. The overhead console is going to hold it into place. Now we'll cut our little holes for our grab handle. Those little plastic clips actually hold the grab handle into the headliner. So we'll slide the handle in. And we'll put our clips on there. As a consolation prize to the clean freaks for not cleaning all those windows, I did clean that handle. Well, I didn't. The detailing gnome did. And he also cleaned the floor of the truck before we put the padding back in. So that's what we're going to do now. Slide it underneath the wiring harness, and we'll clip our wiring harness down, bolt in our ground wires, and plug in our airbag module. And we'll put in our ductwork, snap it into the floor, and time for our carpet. This truck is old, came from a time when they put the carpeting inside the car. So we'll slide the carpeting around the pedals and up under the brace for the dash. We'll route our wires for our seats. Get the ductwork through the carpet. Move it around and make sure it's down where it belongs. A couple little clips that hold it in. We'll let the new guy install this side. Forgot to put the ductwork outside the carpeting. It's great if the carpeting gets wet, it'll help dry it out, but we leak checked it and we aren't going to need that, so we're going to use it to actually heat the passenger compartment. Slide the back of the carpeting underneath the ducts, and we can put our C-pillar trim in. The new one, since Mr. I Have No Patience broke the old one. We'll clip in the top, snap it in, and bolt in our seatbelt on the bottom. Our seatbelt's twisted. Actually, the buckle is just facing in the wrong direction. So to turn it around, pull the belt all the way out, fold the belt in half, and pull the buckle down slowly, and it'll just slide right over. Reel the belt back up in there, and it's straightened out. Put the screws in the back of the cab, hold that little trim piece in. Then we'll put the trim panel on the back of the cab. Snap our cab panel in with our bumper installation tool. I told you somebody's been here before. It clearly says up. Well, that should fix it. Alright, so that's really not going to work. We're going to turn this wiring harness around. We'll pop it out of the B-pillar and unplug it, and we'll untwist it. We didn't want to leave it plugged in because it'll twist the wires that were in the B-pillar. Those were actually in the right place. It's full of water from us leak checking it. Maybe that's why it says up. So we snapped it back in, plugged it back in, and now everything's back to the way it should be, right side up. We'll put our jack bracket in there, bolt it down, slide our jack in the tabs on the back, and raise it up to bind it in there. Bolt our jack tools down there. Also our spare tire lowering tools. It's amazing this truck still has them. Those are like the first things to disappear.
So that's about as far as we're going to go for today. Next time we come back, we'll get the rest of it thrown together, get this thing back out on the road. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.